Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Tool Show with me, Master Dan, the Journeyman shooter. And today we're going to be having a little talk here over our morning coffee time. And it's a nice morning. It's supposed to get kind of worse later on in the day, so I figured I'd do this nice and early with you guys. And now, one of the things I'd like to talk about is cursing in the trades. Cursing has always been around in the trades, and it's something that you have to deal with, especially if you're in private. But there are times that people curse, and there are times that people should not curse. And one of the times that you shouldn't curse is especially just having to be professional. You don't want to be doing that when anybody else is around, or sometimes it's nice to say something funny with your friends, and my dad was always kind of one of the worst for it, because he would never really look around before he said something. He'd just always kind of go for it, and there'd usually be elderly women sitting there and kind of looking at us like, what did that guy just say? But that's one of the things. You want to make sure you're being proper and professional, and in the trades, that's very important. I know there's been times where I've been in office buildings and I was electrocuted because I'm working on live stuff, because you can't turn off the power when you're dealing with those kind of computer systems. And if there's millions of dollars on the line and you end up cutting a computer out and somebody freaks out, then you're going to be responsible. And I've been there, and especially with stainless steel plates, that was the problem. Is I opened one of those up and there was live wires behind it, and it ended up just kind of shocking the plate, and that was what ended up happening to me. But that's just part of the trades, and you just got to kind of make the most out of it. And it's part of it. But I remember swearing because it was so like kind of a shocking experience, I guess, as they'd say. But I remember cursing, and then my boss, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't really know. I didn't really know that I cursed." But sometimes you don't know that you're cursing, because especially if you're going through an electric shock, that's just part of the trades. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you're keeping that to a very bare minimum. And especially, I was kind of raised where you don't curse around men or around women or children. And so if you see women or children, you don't curse, even if the women are cursing like crazy, because nowadays you never know what you're going to get with all the equal rights. So they can curse as much as men, I guess. But you just got to make sure that you personally are trying to stay out of the worst of it, and and just avoid it. Especially, it's not really needed. And they always said Will Smith didn't have to cuss in his rap to sell records, and that was a classic Detroit line that I can't really repeat too much more of. But Will Smith was kind of a great role model for that kind of stuff, is because he really didn't need to swear, and he could tell his story and get it across, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I don't like to swear as much as possible, and I know sometimes when I do, it turns out to be a lot funnier than when I don't. But so you can imagine if I did add some stuff in there, but I won't, because there's a lot of people. I treat this as basically, if I was going to talk to the kid that I'm mentoring through Big Brothers Big Sisters, I wouldn't talk to him any different than you, so why not just talk to you the same way? And that means I don't have to swear to you. I don't have to say bad words, because I know I've gotten in trouble because I said bad words before, like the S word, and that got me in a lot of trouble a couple times. So just make sure you're doing the right thing and avoiding cursing, because it's not important right now. Maybe once in a while, if you have a good joke and you're in private and it's got one good word or something, then go for it. But yeah, just avoid it. Imagine that there's women and children around you at any time, because especially in the trades, those walls, they're wide open. So when you're talking, if there's no insulation in there could be a guy on the other side that's running the site, or an engineer, or some kind of owner or person behind there. So you want to just make sure you're putting off a professional look for your team, because that's what it is. You represent a team when you're part of the construction industry, and a team's only as good as every player that's on it. So if you're cursing and walking around and getting your team in trouble and getting your team penalties or getting your team fines, then good luck. They're going to get rid of you pretty quick, because nobody needs that kind of stuff. So that's all I was going to be getting at today, is just avoid cursing, especially in the trades. It's easy to curse, and if you're up north or in the oil patch, go for it. But that's a problem, is because I know I've seen so many people that were really good people go up there and came back just cursing. You go to the city and you don't realize where you are. You think you're still on the oil patch, but that's not where it is. You're back in the city. So know your surroundings. That's a major part of construction, is you got to know what's around you at all times. If there's a crane going overhead, you want to make sure you're avoiding that location. Or if there's a giant, a giant bulldozer coming towards you, you get out of the way and you make eye contact. And you know your situation, you know your surroundings, and that's why you got to avoid certain things in those situations, like cursing. So for Tool Show, I'm Master Dan, the Journeyman shooter. Get out there and try not to curse.